Now it's time to generate two different components, one for a header template and the other will be a home component, which will be the default component that loads when the app is launched and our getArticles method is called. In the console, we'll use the Angular command line interface tool to generate these components. ng, G for generate, component, and the component name will be header. And then also ng, G, and we can use the shorthand C for component, and we'll name this one home. Next, in source and app, let's visit the app component HTML file. And we're simply going to get rid of everything with the exception to our router outlet. And on top of it, we're going to add in our header. We'll save that. Now, if you recall, we used the CLI to generate this project, and we used the routing flag, and this creates an app routing module file right here. So let's go ahead and import our home component that we just created. Okay, next, we're going to define a path, and this path will be empty as shown here, and we're going to set the component to our home component. All right, great, we'll save that. Another order of business before we can proceed is to add our article service that we generated from the previous lesson to the app module file. So we'll come here, and we'll import it. And we add it as a provider. And save. Okay, so now let's visit the newly created home component. And in the top, we're going to import our article service that we created. All right, and then also let's create an instance of this service through dependency injection within the constructor. All right, and real quickly, we're going to create a class that defines the property types of our articles. So just over here in our app folder, we're going to create a new file. This is going to be called article.ts. And inside of here, we're going to export a class of article. And we're going to define a property of ID of type string, as well as title string and content string. So we'll save that. We'll go back to our home component and then we'll import it. And save. Now next, let's create a property in the component class to hold our articles. It's going to be an array, and we pass in article class. Okay, now within the ng on init lifecycle hook, which is executed when the component loads, we'll reference our article service and get the getArticles method. So we'll say this.article service, and then we reference getArticles method that we created, and we subscribe from the response. This.articles equals the response. Now back in our app module file, because we used HTTP in our article service, we need to add it as an import. So we'll import it, the HTTP module, from the Angular HTTP library. Then we add it here as an import. Now save. We'll go back to our home component and save this file. And then finally, just to ensure everything works, let's visit the home component HTML template file, and we'll iterate through the articles property and use interpolation to display the article titles. ng4, we'll say let article of articles. And we will be adding more HTML, but just for now, we'll put in an article and show the title. All right, we'll save this. And let's go back to the console and run ng build and open up another console and run our node server. ng build. And then I'm going to switch over to another and we'll run node server. All right, next let's go ahead and visit the browser. And there we go. We can see that it's showing the one and only article title that we currently have, as well as a header works, which we'll adjust later on. In the next video, we're going to work within this home component template file and the header file, and then also write some quick CSS to style this appropriately.